With all the distractions in our life, it can be hard to take time to find peace. And in her new audio series, Off the Grid, Sister Jenna of the Meditation Museum offers guided meditations for us to get our lives back on track and to help us find ways to feel more centered. And she joins me now to discuss. Sister Jenna, thank you very much for joining us today.
Hi, Carolyn. It's so nice to be with you again. And I loved that interview with Jonas just now.
Oh, thank you. I know. Wasn't he great? I mean, just talk about a man that's found some time to take moments to be spiritual and indulge in that. But, you know, Sister, why are we all so busy that we often feel that spiritual well-being is the thing that's on the bottom of our to-do lists?
Well, I think one of the things, Caroline, is that we have thought that to be spiritual or to meditate is to sit still and do nothing. And I think why I decided to do Off the Grid Into the Heart is to give the awareness that we're constantly on the move. It's like a top. You remember those tops that used to spin really fast when we were young? And so the top is spinning, and it keeps spinning. But if we get some sort of a negative thought or feeling in the midst of the spinning, it throws us off. And then we feel like we want to get off of the grid or we want to go somewhere else. And a lot of people are saying, I can't cope with the speed of life anymore. But I feel that we won't be able to stop the speed. The question is, how do I deal with the speed? And so Off the Grid Into the Heart is about bringing the right attitude, like Jonah was saying. It's about being in the game, but being in the game in the right way. And you know, a question I love that you asked is, what's the end result of spirituality or meditation? Remember that one?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I was just so curious hearing people describe their journey. And then you always feel like, well, at the end of a journey is often the destination. What is the destination?
To me, it's an accumulation of power. When you have enough silence or love or peace or purity in you, you can cope with all the obstacles that come in front of you. And I just realized that about 3 years ago. There wasn't this ultimate final game. It was how much did I bring in me that was good, that I could cope with all the different factors of life. And so when I look at Off the Grid Into the Heart, which I'm going to be launching on February 8th at the Conscious Life Expo in LA, what I'm trying to convey to everyone is life's not going to slow down, it's not going to stop, but we've got to think in a positive way, and we've got to think in an elevated way. We've got to believe more in ourselves and in what we can do.
So I have a comment here from a viewer who's watching. Sant says, I agree, moving and keeping positive thoughts have helped me to stay sane. Talk to me about that moving and keeping positive thoughts. I like this connection between the spiritual and the thoughtful, and then the connectivity, you know, the movement aspect of things.
Again, go back to a spinning top. You've got a lot of deadlines on your table. You're moving fast at HuffPost Live and everywhere else, right? If somebody calls you and gives you bad news, all of a sudden your top just topples over. And you could lose it emotionally, like, you just can't take any more of it, because there are things inside of the soul that's building up in us. We're thinking things, we're capturing scenes, we're hearing things every day. And some of them are positive and some of them are not so positive. And we're influenced a lot, Caroline, by the things that people say and do to us or to the people that we love around us. And if those feelings are negative, those feelings can drive us insane if we don't believe in the positivity and the goodness of the human soul. Again, I want to invite you with the spinning top. It's spinning, it's dynamic, it's in motion. When you're at the top of your game, there's nothing more beautiful than that. But get a call with bad news, it doesn't look the same. That top just stops spinning in its dynamic way, and you're trying to catch it back. So, to me, meditation and spirituality, please do not think you just have to sit down and stop life. Please continue moving with life, but we've got to bring the right thought and the right attitude when we're in motion, and that's the biggest challenge at this time.
So, Sister Jenna, I mean, tell me, you know, for those moments where you were saying, you gave the example, if somebody, say, for example, has phoned you up and given you some bad news, or has told you something about a loved one of theirs that you don't like the idea of somebody that you love being in pain, how do you stay detached while not, you know, sort of disengaging your empathy? I mean, how do you do that?
we have to define detachment. Detachment means I let go of the limited ideas that I've gotten very accustomed to believing in, such as I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm black, I'm white, I'm American, I'm Persian. If I let go of those attachments, there's something that automatically starts to come up in the soul, and it's called love. So what we find as removal or detachment, I call it just disconnecting from the pattern of being very attached to what I'm just very used to and allowing the original power of the soul to be connected to the scene and the situation. Because if we don't, Caroline, it'll throw us off and we get tired and we get weaker every time we take the negative feelings in and own them. When we own those negative thoughts, it changes the story. You know, a habit is not something we need. And so the habit of thinking of ourselves is just basic. This is my title, this is my role, this is my job. There's more to us than that. There's a soul that's playing the part. So when the soul becomes detached, Carolyn, it basically says, let me just pull back from the part, let me step into where the power is, and now let me come forward and deal with this call that's just come in. It is bad news. But now this bad news needs my positivity to keep it neutral or to make it into something beneficial.
So, Sister Jenna, I mean, you released a new CD that people can get their hands on. We've got information on that in our resource well. What are the first steps to be able to keep ourselves on track so that we feel that we're not going out of control in that sort of spinning top metaphor that you used?
I invite everybody to have awareness. I think things are getting intense, and if you're not aware that you have enough in you, and if you're not aware of accumulating love and peace and purity and truth and joy, then what's going to take us over is an acronym that I use all the time called ALGE. A for anger, L for lust, G for greed, A for attachment, and E for ego. And what happens is if I feed into that, it trumps my power. So we need to practice awareness that my true original identity and worth of a person is a being that has the capacity to love even if someone's not loving. And I believe that if we try to move more into this and lean more into this quality of love and this quality of silence, not an absence of action, you're actually involved in the action, but you're trying to bring the best of yourself to it, but you're aware. And so it's awareness that's important.
Well, Sister Jenna, thank you very much for taking the time and being with us today. I know a lot of people were very excited that you were going to be with us, including Stephen, who's watching and says, Sister Jenna, very wise soul. Listen carefully, folks. She has so much to offer. And thank you very much for joining us today and offering us some words of wisdom.
Thank you, Carolyn. And say goodbye. I'm saying goodbye to everyone at Health Post Live.
And guys, thanks for watching. For more information on Off the Grid, check out our resource well below. Up next, Scandal star Jeff Perry sits down with Ilona. Stay tuned.